Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Brian Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. Well, here we go again with the bull crap. Yeah, well, a mayor in California is basically complaining because Governor Gavin Newsom has signed the law that would initially allow people such as prostitutes, and others to basically wear G strings and say it's cool. I can do whatever I want to do. I can prostitute. I can, it's terrible, basically. And I'm going to get right into this article because I want you guys to hear exactly what this mayor is saying for your own self. But it just goes to show you when you remove certain laws out of the picture, people are going to go buck wild. There will be no more restraints at all because there are no laws in place to penalize those kind of actions. So let's get right into this article because this is insane. But once again, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised because these liberal politicians have no moral values. And so the article starts off it says, sex workers wearing only G-strings in front of schools, highways, and local businesses have caused real issues in National City, a working class town outside of San Diego. Mayor Ron Morrison told Fox News. They're waving to people on the freeway, or just to be honest with you, they are bending over for the freeway. Wow. I don't know how else to put it. They're showing their wares. The mayor, who says he is, quote, nonpartisan, said California's Senate Bill 357, which went into effect in January after being signed last July, overturned a previous law that banned loitering with the intent to engage in prostitution. The bill, authored by far-left state Senator Scott Weiner, claimed this would help protect, quote, this part got me, Black, brown, and trans women from being targeted by police. Let me say something real quick about that. This whole idea about targeting, that's a bunch of bull crap. Because if you're doing something that's unlawful, regardless of what race you are, regardless of what ethnicity, if you're doing something that's unlawful, then the police certainly will target you. They will target you because you have made yourself a target, regardless of whether you're trans or black or brown or blue or purple or plaid. It makes no difference. When you make yourself a target, then the police will target you. If you don't make yourself a target, then they will not target you. That's a whole bunch of nonsense. And this is something that liberal politicians use every single time to justify immorality. Let's go on. The previous law allowed police officers to arrest a person. This is crazy right here. Not based on what they did, but based solely on how a person looks, Weiner told ABC7. So an officer could arrest someone because they were wearing tight clothing, high heels, and extra lipstick. Yeah, at a certain time of the night. Come on, man. I wasn't born yesterday myself, but I ain't gonna go into the detail of that. But I know, yeah, that's a bunch of bull crap. But let's go on, because I want you guys to hear this. However, Mayor Morrison says the, quote, idiotic law should be known as the, quote, Safe Streets for Pimp initiative. Yeah. The moment it was signed by the governor, boom. Everyone knew the rules were out the window, Morrison said, and he's absolutely right. Because when you take away the laws, when you take away certain laws, if you remove those laws, this kind of stuff is going to happen. People are naturally inclined to do what is immoral, not what is moral. So when you remove the laws and remove the penalty of breaking those laws, people are going to be more inclined to do what is immoral and what is wrong. This is what I see happening here. And this is what I see happening in the city of Cleveland and all over. It makes a difference. It makes a difference who you vote for. But let's go on. As Breitbart News reported, the effects of the law were immediately felt on the streets of Los Angeles as prostitution rose. According to Weiner's bill, the law, quote, aims to remove the social stigma of sex work. The social stigma of sex work? They're trying to make us, these politicians in the state of California are trying to make California like what, Sweden and other nations outside of America, where sex work is legal. That's what they're trying to basically do. A little bit of the time, they're trying to legalize sex work. But let's go on. Man, it just goes to show you how far this country has come in terms of morality. It stinks. Mayor Morrison told Fox News, quote, those that are out there on the street, most of them are wearing less than what you would consider a scanty negligee. It is just flaunting in everybody's face. And so a lot of people are screaming, quote, hey, can't you just get them on indecent exposure? And the problem is the way our laws read in the state. Once again, he's talking about laws. The definition of indecent exposure is as long as the genitals are covered. Anything else is fair game out in public. Local businesses, including mom and pop shops, as well as national chains, have complained to Morrison about the advertising of sex outside of their locations harming business. So of course it's going to harm businesses. Yeah, of course. That's the whole aim. He even reported that a local school was forced to cover over its windows due to prostitutes loitering right outside. That's sick. According to the mayor, public prostitution has become, quote, very much beyond brazen in National City. He noted that another recent state law which legalized jaywalking has worsened the issue as some women will stand in traffic to hunt down a buyer. Morrison gives an example. He says, I was driving on one of the streets the other day, and there's this young lady standing there in the middle of the street wearing basically a G-string. And that was it, and a couple of pasties. So I did ask her very politely, would you please move out of the street? And she looked at me and says, if you don't want to talk to me, you can go around. From what he has observed in National City and other municipalities around California, the law has even opened the doors, and this is quite frightening here, to sex trafficking and child sex trading. While prostitution is still illegal in California, Newsom's new law, quote, basically tells the police, your hands are off. And that's it. When you take the power from the police, there's nothing they can do. And this really hurts the morale of the police because they're like, I see this all the time in the city of Cleveland. The police don't even want to respond to a lot of the so-called crimes and calls that they're given because their morale is down. Because when you have a progressive, liberal politician like mine and others throughout this country, they're not in support of law enforcement. They're in support of immorality and debauchery. That's what they're in support of. They're in support of the criminals. They want the criminals are the victims. Let's go on. Basically tells police, your hands are off, Morrison said, noting that some of the girls on the street appeared to be underage. A lot of times, police found out that these were juveniles or that they were basically being sex trafficked and they could get them out of that. Now they basically have no legal opportunity to even talk to them, Morrison said. This is disgusting. Adding that law enforcement has previously gotten girls as young as 12 years old off the streets. 12 years old. This is happening in America, y'all. The great America. These politicians are destroying this country. As Fox News reported, other crimes have also followed, including shooting and assaults, due to the uptick in prostitution. Only weeks ago, a heavily pregnant prostitute was kidnapped, beaten, and raped. These crime incidents go on our crime stats. We've had shootings, everything else involving the prostitutes and the pimps, Morrison stated. People here are not happy about this in the least. And the problem is they expect us locally to do something about it. And we're sitting here with our hands behind our back with handcuffs on that Sacramento was placed on us. I don't know what that means. But anyway, that's the end of that article right there. But yeah. This is what happens when you have immoral politicians in office. When you have progressive Democrats in office. Not only are they protecting the criminals, calling them victims of oppression, but they also protect a lot of things that has been for decades considered to be immoral. Look at where we are today morally. The morals of our society in general have gone down the drain. And hey, I'm one of the rare types that believe in right or wrong. And let me tell you something. I don't believe in right or wrong just because I'm a Christian, just because I'm a minister. That's not it. You don't have to be no Christian. You don't even have to be religious to believe in right or wrong. All you have to have is a conscience. And your conscience tells you intuitively that certain things are right and certain things are wrong. Not only that, but all you have to have is a good parent or parents, preferably, but sometimes a good parent that raised you right, that taught you morals and values. That's all you need to know certain things are right and certain things are wrong. And like I said, your conscience. And when you have those things coupled together, you know that certain things just stink. And when we put these kind of politicians in office, this is what we're going to get, whether they're the city councils, whether they're reps or Senate members or whatever. It doesn't matter. Local, state, and federal. When we vote these people in office, this is what we're going to see. These progressive Democrats are not helping. They're not helping morally, and they're not helping when it comes to crime. Now, if a person, and I'm just going to be real with you, if a person values this kind of lifestyle, if a person values prostitution, bending over in the middle of the streets looking for customers, if you don't have no problem with young people, kids in school seeing this kind of stuff, okay, fine. That's their person's choice. But at the end of the day, when you're loosey-goosey like that, people tend to go to the side of darkness in their heart. And when you don't have laws to constrain that, it's going to get buck wild. See, it's interesting how people say, "Oh, it's not bothering." They're not bothering that. Woo, 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 until one of their own children get kidnapped or touched or whatever. I was watching this a video on a TikTok video. I think it was a TikTok video, and it was a store. I'm not going to name who this person was or what nationality, any of that. That ain't what it's about. It's about being human, about having morals and values, and respecting certain cultures and idioms. Okay, and this man went. I guess word got out to him that his daughter was sexualized basically in this store. Basically, the merchant took her hand. She was underage. He took her hand, was kissing it aggressively, and she was trying to pull away, but he wouldn't let her pull away. And so she went and told her, I think it was either her uncle or father, something like that. This guy came in and just tore the store up. And this guy looked like he was from the hood. He looked like somebody from some upper class. He looked like he was from the hood, but he seemed to me to have morals and values, and this bothered him. Now, was he justified in doing that? I'm not saying he was justified in doing it, but I understand why he tore up the store. When you have loosey-goosey laws, this is what you're going to get. People are going to take it because they're going to take advantage of it, because most people are unfortunately inclined to yield towards the darkness in their heart, even though they have a consciousness that tells them what is right and wrong. But when you take away all the laws that penalize this kind of immorality and violence, people will go towards the darkness of their inner man. They're going to go towards that area. Whatever you value will be the way you vote. That's how it is. It's unfortunate. It seems to be the case in California. Unfortunately, no offense to people who are in California, no offense, but I'm just telling you my opinion. This seems to be the case in California and a lot of liberal and progressive liberal cities and states all over this country. Seems to be the case with a lot of people. Not all of them. Is that, well, no big deal. Certain morals and values say you're free to do whatever you want to do. You're free to say what you want to say. You're free to do whatever you want to do. That may be true to some extent, but certain things should have limits. When it comes to morality and right and wrong, certain things should have limits. And the thing about prostitution is, when you make it easy for this stuff to happen, even though it says prostitution is still illegal, when you make it easy for certain things like this to happen, for people to solicit and so forth, and loader with wearing G-strings, when you make it easy for them to do this, this leads to inordinate sexual relations, and this can lead to venereal diseases. Now what? I'm just saying. These people are destroying our country. Progressive Democrats are destroying this country. And the so-called Republicans, the neocons and the so-called Republicans are not doing any better. They're sitting on their hands, crying and boo-hooing, and somebody going to call them racist if they call this stuff out. You need to have some kind of gut. Have some guts about yourself, man. God dog. Have some guts about yourself. Have some get up and go about yourself. Be willing to risk opposition to stand on your morals and values, because I know a lot of them have it, but they're just scared. Well, if you're scared of standing on any kind of moral value or principle that you have, then why are you even in office, Mr. and Mrs. Republican? Why are you even in office? You're useless to the public. You're useless to us. We don't need you. Okay? But that's what I had to say about that. This is sick, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that Gavin Newsom would sign this law he's signing this law. Now, he didn't create the law, clearly. He didn't create it. The city council did, okay? You know, he didn't. Rather, the council did. He didn't create it, but the state legislators created it. Rather, not the city council, but the state legislators. They created the law. But because he agrees with that kind of loosey-goosey attitude, he signed it into law. No struggle whatsoever. No surprise here. Progressive Democratic politicians stink. I'm just going to tell you that right up front. And the Republicans that sit on their hands and let this stuff happen stink too. There. Boom. Okay. I said it and I'm not taking it back. What do you guys think about this crazy law? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.